Hi Year 11, it's Mrs. Cooley here, just showing you a little screencast about investigating science and what it involves and why you might want to choose to do it in Year 12. So it is a 2-unit science course. It has 4 modules plus a depth study, or it has several depth studies, and we get up to 30 hours of depth study, which is twice as much as one of the other mainstream sciences. Essentially, this is the science of science by example and practice, and the 4 modules are listed below. One thing you can do is, if you're finding that you're not enjoying a science, you can drop that science and pick up this science. I would suggest that be careful in dropping a science because you think it's too hard and picking up this science, because essentially they are of the same difficulty. There is different content for sure. There's more prac for sure, but that does not make it any easier. So just be really careful about choosing it because you think it might be easier. Your attributes to do well in this subject. You need to be the kind of person who enjoys all aspects of science. You like all the different fields in science. You need to be a self-starter. Because there's so much depth study, some of which you run independently, you need to be able to work effectively in that way. You need to be creative, be able to come up with your projects, and you need to be logical in your thinking. You also need to be persistent, so if it doesn't work the first time, be persistent enough to have another go. One of the other things we find is that there is a lot of evidence-based arguments in this particular course, so you'll learn a lot of case studies, and being able to write a good argument is an advantage. Why would you choose it? There's lots of reasons to choose it. Science will be a major solver of major global problems. And if we think about pollution, energy, climate, future, those problems aren't fully understood yet, and we're seeing some innovation happening. This subject very much looks at innovation, problem solving, lateral thinking, critical thinking, which are all key skills for the future. The very first topic is scientific investigations, and this is where we really look at the nuts and bolts of scientific method, and we look at some case studies and try to pick them apart so that we can see what it is that led the scientists to come up with a question or to come up with a method, etc. That's followed by technologies, and we look at how technologies can enhance an investigation, but we also look at how technology has led to advances in scientific theories and law. And then we also look at how science has led to the increase in technology. And we use lots of examples in that as well. Module 7 is fact or fallacy, and that basically means truth or a lie. So we look at how claims are made and how they can be tested, and what kinds of factors can affect the way data is interpreted and analysed. How is it understood? What kind of evidence is needed to come up with a valid conclusion? We look at biases. We look at the scientific community and the process of peer review to find what's a real truth. This is where your major depth study comes in, and we get you to investigate the claim made by a product of some sort. It might be a beauty product, or it could be anything, where you design a major investigation to try and prove or disprove their claim. The last module is Science and Society, where we look at science-related events and how society views those events. We look at the scientific research that is used and why certain regulations might be in place for different types of technologies. We look at the direction of scientific research and how that can be influenced by economy or society or politics. Beautifully illustrated right now in the time of COVID, where we are focusing a lot of our science in looking at treatments and vaccines. So a depth study is the application of knowledge, and each topic will have some form of depth study in it. We try to do at least one major investigation within each of the topics to try and build up your skills throughout the whole topic as well. If you have any questions at all about investigating science, you can find me in the science staff room, and Dr. Bunny also teaches this subject, and we're happy to answer any questions. Thanks, girls.